the day I found out that I was pregnant as a surrogate. So when I found out that I was pregnant, I was working in a pre-op clinic and I had access to pregnancy tests because I was the one who ran the pregnancy tests on all of the pre-op patients. So I feel like it was just kind of a temptation that was there all the time, those first 2 weeks that you're supposed to wait. And I remember I had done a lot of Googling and research in the middle of the night when I couldn't sleep, and I was like, okay, symptoms for a successful transfer, symptoms for a failed transfer, and just kind of things like that to kind of get an idea or gauge to see if, oh, I'm feeling a little moody today, or just I'm a little off. So I don't think that there was anything necessarily that stood out. I think that it was just, it was on a Friday, I think, because I was supposed to go and have my blood drawn on Monday. And so I remember I went and I took a pregnancy test and I was like, okay, if I'm pregnant, then, great. If I'm not pregnant, that sucks, but, we'll get through it too. But I knew regardless, since I did not have it confirmed with the blood pregnancy test, that I would keep it to myself. So I remember I got the pregnancy test out, put the drops of pee on it, and I'm sitting there, and then it immediately lit up with 2 lines. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. I cannot wait to tell them this. I cannot wait to see what the blood draw says, because I, had already kind of, I don't want to say that I had a suspicion, but I felt like it was a good transfer. So I went home, I told my husband, and I said, we cannot tell anybody. This is just between you and me. So it was kind of nice to have a little bit of a secret as far as, something that I was going to tell the parents, obviously, but something that I got to keep just between me and my husband. Because anytime that I've been pregnant with my kids, it was like, oh, find out you're pregnant, go have a blood test, tell immediately. And so the fact that I had a whole weekend that I had to sit on this information, and I was like, oh, I'm not gonna say anything. And then I had my blood draw, and then they called and they said, okay, it looks like your HCG is in range of a pregnancy. And I was just like, yes, I'm so happy. I can't wait to tell dads. I'm super excited to tell this information to them. So it was a very joyous day for everybody. My husband was super excited, I was super excited, and of course dads were over the moon when I got to tell them, confirmed tell them. Now I will say with something like that, it just kind of depends on your relationship with your IPs, and it also depends on what kind of contract, I guess, you have. So you have to tread lightly with something like that, because if you find out and you say something and then it's wrong, then that could come back on you, and you don't want that to happen. So just be mindful of, if you do something like that, that everybody's in agreement with that decision. And so the dads had no problem with me finding out before. They just didn't want to know. They wanted to know after there was a confirmation with the blood test. So it's just kind of based on your relationship and your comfort level with something like that. Like, can you keep something like that to yourself? And so it's not something that just anybody can do, essentially.